So yeah, I thought I'd try out Lies of P. Lies of P. See, I figured Dying Light the Beast was supposed to come out in August, then they delayed it a month. So I finished up Dying Light 2 a little early, and we got some room. So let's wiggle with some Lies of P. I know that this game is sort of Souls-like. I've got no other context to that. I've not looked at really anything. So this will be a new experience, shall we say. So I also don't have the DLC, so we're not doing DLC stuff at this point, just because I didn't buy it. But we'll see if I like this game. I'm kind of wondering how this will go. All right. I don't really want to go super difficult, just because I'm kind of burnt out on the whole difficult stuff. I'll do it, something lighthearted maybe. I've done my time in the Soulsborne series, and I don't want to have to get good over and over and over again with different games anymore. Oh yeah, we gotta kick ass with the top hat. Dim ergo fragment. That sounds like loot. Let's get our health as like very high up and just see how it goes from there. Getting health up is a general good idea in games like this. Like I like how the level indicator in the upper right is like it lights up when you can level up. That's a nice little thing to indicate, hey, do a thing. I appreciate it when games let me know things without me having to like double check things over and over. Hey there, you look cool. He's speaking in Japanese. Oh, that explains why I was getting stuff wrong. Okay, like that. Okay, that's a deflect counterattack. Okay. Okay, that's the reason it wasn't doing what I thought it would do. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I need to... It helps to read.
Welcome to the sanctuary of the Grand Covenant. Prove your identity. Who are you? Grand Covenant's fourth law. A puppet cannot lie. Welcome to Hotel Krat.
Your springs are reacting. What does that mean? Is it bad to lie? Oh yeah, this is based on the Pinocchio story, right? So it's probably bad to lie. Damn it, now I want to go back and, like, not lie, just to see what would happen. Take the virtuous route, see what happens. I wonder if the game's narrative is all about, like, Pinocchio lying and what that means for the overall narrative or something. I wonder if that's why it's called that. Hotel Krat is one of the city's creepiest and most mysterious buildings. According to lore, Hotel Krat is an isolated castle built by an aristocrat devoted to a form of occultism after receiving a revelation from a radiant tree. That is a loaded sentence. Krat City Hall. It keeps saying cloudy morning. Is there like a day-night cycle that progresses in some way? That'd be kind of cool. Spectre. Use a star fragment at the cracks calling next to the boss area to summon a spectre. It will help your character in the boss battle. Ah, neat. I do want to do it solo, though. I do want to do it solo, so let's give it a shot. This might be the first one to kill me. Damn it. Ah, shit, that was stupid. Damn it. Pain. Yeah, this is all pain. I am getting better, though. That's the main thing, is being more aware of how this works. Oh, I did it! Sweet. The only pattern I've got is that it hits really hard. Yeah. The more I played it, the more I was kind of enjoying the fight. It's like, yeah, I can see the openings now. I can understand. My third eye opened for a minute. This is fun watching you play a game I've completed for a change. Alright, now you can be the guide to this noob. What is this? Father, are you going to make me a gimp again? This is such a pretty interior. I know, I love the art style of the game. It's very fun. I'm quite a dapper puppet, if I do say so. That's pretty cool. How are you liking the combat so far? I like the combat. and I really don't have any complaints about it at this point. It's just a matter of I need to get used to it. I think the biggest issue right now is just I need to get used to the system. But yeah, I like the combat, and I like the way it's sort of got a built. It's got like a weird sort of pseudo poise system with like the special attacks leading up to like sort of. It's got a weird mixture of like sort of like Dark Souls and Sekiro sort of combat system, and I like that. I kind of like that mix. And I like the way it does its own thing as well. It's not just like a direct copy of either of those things. We've committed to lying, so we're going to lie. Game shows you throughout the game if you don't have enough, you miss the real final boss for not being human enough. Well, that's one thing. Like, I'm assuming that lying throughout the game will increase your humanity because it's supposed to be like at least from what it seems anyway, it seems like puppets are not supposed to lie, but humans lie. Now, I normally don't care about spoilers for games, but in this instance, don't tell me what the final boss is. Don't tell me what... Tell me how to get there, don't tell me, what things are. Wouldn't do that telling you anyway. If you naturally progress and keep lying, you should be fine. Good! We appreciate lying here. I feel like Johnny Depp in Bloodborne in a weird way, where it's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but with Bloodborne shit.
It's time for the riddle. No more waiting. We thank you for participating. By morning, it walks on feet numbering 4. At midday, just 2. No less and no more. It walks on 3 feet when the evening arrives. And if you solve this, then I'll know you're alive.
This is like Humanity, right? It's like one of those old ones where it's like human, because baby, middle-aged, old with a cane.
Correct. Fantastic insights, caller. But not everything has to rhyme, you know. I'm not a caricature. I'm the king of riddles.
This sounds like if the Joker and Jason Dean from Heathers had a vocal baby. I was actually thinking of that. I was thinking of like the Riddler from like Batman from like the 60s. The only thing he was missing was the Riddler's laugh. Let's do the entire rest of the stream with a Sean Connery voice. It seems we've stumbled into a factory of some kind. I see big open areas and I don't trust it. Oh, that looks excruciatingly bad. I'm even getting a save icon. This is not good. Hello there. You look kind of cool. If I act as a fanboy, will you leave me alone? This kind of reminds me of, any of y'all see that movie, what's it called? Like, 9, I think it is. It's got Elijah Wood. It's about all the little sock creatures in, like, a post-apocalyptic world. It's got heavy emphases on, like, industrialization and how robots kind of took over the planet and killed all of humanity. Shortcut ahead. Oh no. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this, man. Come on, get hit by the flaming ball of death. Do it. Yeah. Why must every game have a poison swamp? That's new. They didn't have the option to use Ergo and level up screen when I played. Well, they do now, and it's a godsend. You had to go back to crate before a certain point in the game. Wow. That's a pretty dynamic shift of, like, updating it to be more user-friendly. For the Chocolate Factory! The support of the Red Lobster Inn. Now I want seafood. You don't see me! I have experienced the goo. Think you're leveling equip load, not actual... No, don't tell me that. Damn it. I'm fucking dumb. I'm so fucking stupid. I was wondering why stamina wasn't going up. Damn. Damn, I am a right tard right now. Alright. Now I actually know what the stamina is. Now I'm actually paying attention. Ooh, might sound silly, but parrying in this game is pretty important. Can lead to weapons breaking for enemies. Yeah, I know that, but I'm just not good at it. Holy shit, that does a lot of fucking damage. Nice. Okay, sweet. Never done any of his BS. That isn't fair. Is he supposed to do a bunch of fire spurting shit where he throws shit all over the arena? Yeah, he spams, overheats, and red attacks. Okay. Sprays fire all over the floor and you have to run. So did I, like, stun lock him out of his, like, transition phase or something like that to... What the fuck? Guess the next boss will be your skill check. I mean, my skill check was the police guy. I died to him, like, a good... Like, I think 5 times? Like, 4 or 5 times? And Andrew, once you put your comment in that it's a model, all I could think of was, like, the Camelot bit from Holy Grail. It's only a model. Shh. Yeah. That's pretty much all the time I've got for this. But this was fun. This was fun. I had a lot of fun playing this. It's nice to play another Souls-like that's not as, I guess, as stupid as Elden Ring got sometimes. It's time for the P. The mighty P. Oh wow, that is a blatant invisible wall. Oh no, we're fighting zombies too. We get some organ shit too. I love organs. They help me breathe and shit. Alright, so there's something in the basement. There's always something in the basement or the attic. I want to have a horror movie where the monster comes out of the fridge. You have monsters come out of weird things. Like, I'd love to have a monster that comes out of a haunted toaster because someone committed suicide and they tried to use a toaster to kill themselves. Yeah, that's some lore for a horror movie right there. Just free. I give it to you freely. There's got to be more of you in there. I can, like, hear sounds. Wow, that's such a dumb sentence. It's like, I can hear sounds and I can see visuals. Removes it. Yeah, wait a minute. Do I already have that on there? Oh, I already have that on there. Okay, I just can't read. It's amazing what you can do when you play video games all the time and yet you still can't read. You can never... What the fuck is... How is your body in there? Also, I just now saw that other guy. Wow, this is getting floopy. I like how the paperclip looks like a P. Gutted you didn't put the donkey mask on, by the way. I'm not a furry. I'm not a fan. I like my top hat. I keep wanting to call my character Timothy just because, I mean, the dude looks like Timothy Chalamet. Like, almost to a T. Just Pinocchio eats more cheeseburgers. Love the first stream, how long it took you to work out what Fable hearts are. Hey, man, I'm not that smart when it comes to, like, playing games. Really like how your dropped ergo is outside the boss door if you die. I like that. I like that they aren't as punishing as some of the Soulsborne stuff. It's one of those things that I think does kind of adversely impact the Souls series in the long run, is that the more you try to one-up yourself, the smaller the group of people will inevitably become that will be able to beat your challenge and have fun with it. You know, some people will just beat it just to say they've beaten it. You know, like I never want to go through, like, Shadow of the Erdtree again, right? And I beat that fucker like 13 times across different runs. It's like I never want to beat that fucker again. Annoy the piss out of me. I ain't going back, man. I like games when they take their overall sort of style and then produce different gimmicks out of that style, right? The gimmick isn't just it's harder now, and that's kind of it. You know, and it's one of those things where a lot of bosses in Dark Souls 1 are not that difficult, but they're still engaging because they, like, the gimmick is... all the gimmicks are different, right? So it's not like you're fighting the same boss over and over and over in Dark Souls 1, right? Whereas Dark Souls 2 and even 3 to an extent have that sort of issue where sometimes it feels like you're fighting the same boss over and over. You know, because it's basically just a tough dude, you know, that does extra damage with a few combos. It's not quite as deep as some of the stuff in Dark Souls 1 where you have literal like differences in how the boss functions. It seems as the series went on, they reduced the gimmicks. Demon Souls was mostly gimmicks, then DS1 was maybe about half gimmicks you could use, then DS2 and DS3 had hardly any gimmicks. Yeah. Well, there's sort of a give and a take with gimmicks that I think... like, there's a give and take with gimmicks that I think can be problematic when designing a game because, you know, I mean, eventually you will start repeating gimmicks to the point where it's no longer a sort of like gimmick, you know? Like over time, using a gimmick over and over, once you sort of run out of ideas, will inevitably lead you to make that gimmick a consistency, right? Where it's no longer a gimmick so much as the standard. Also got some loot. But yeah, going back to the gimmick discussion, right? Like, gimmicks are sort of a hard thing to keep interesting because you eventually do run out of gimmicks and you just start repeating shit. Now, granted, there's a lot of gimmicks you can do. You know, and personally what I would do is I'd keep the gimmicks keep the boss amounts low, but make their gimmicks as deep as possible, given what you want to do, right? Like if, you know, like I would be fine with a Soul series if the boss numbers like decreased over time, but each boss became deeper as a result of that. Like they have more time to focus on each individual boss. I think that could make each boss fight more interesting rather than having, you know, just more. You know, just in terms of like just a raw sort of number. Alright, since we've done story thing, we go home. We have a lot of people to talk to apparently. This is one thing I really do like about this game over the Souls series is how it lets you know when they're like where shit is. Like it doesn't outright like give you like a guiding path to exactly where it is, but it says, hey, in this area there is a thing. Which is so nice because I hate how convoluted shit is in the Souls series as it went on. Just it's like convolution for the sake of convolution. It's just annoying. There's nothing more fun than, you know, blowing up some demon dogs. I had to be very careful with putting the word demon in there. I have the urge to quote the Terminator every time I use this gun. keep wanting to say, hasta la vista, puppet. Oh, one thing I will say, Arbiter, is I do think some of the attacks for some of the enemies come through a little too quickly. Like, I feel like some of the telegraphing could use some work. Because it does that kind of thing where it's like, you can see the wind-up, but when it comes down, the enemy sort of twitches into the direction of where you are sometimes. Yes, the enemy aggression and also how long some of the combos go on was a major frustrating factor for me. A lot of enemies, especially later on, it feels like there is never a good window to attack. Yeah, I think downtime in the game is a little unclear at times, so that can pose a problem. I think a lot of Souls-like suffer from trying to copy from software without understanding why certain mechanics are implemented in the first place. Yeah, I'd agree with that too, and I think some Souls-like games benefit from the fact that they're not too Souls-like, you know. Like, I think Remnant from the Ashes is a good example of sort of doing your own thing while taking influence from the Souls sort of series, right? Like, this is basically Bloodborne with puppets and different types of enemies, right? It's very similar. You know, Remnant is sort of a mixture of sort of the Souls-like, you know, like dodge system, equip load affecting things in terms of how your dodge works. And just difficulty being a significant part of the design philosophy. But a lot of other things in Remnant are sort of its own thing. It's sort of its own sort of style of a shooter. Yeah, too many Souls-like devs just go, oh well, this mechanic was in DS1 or Bloodborne, so it should go in our game, even if it doesn't serve the core gameplay mechanics. Yeah, there's a lot of copying and pasting in the Souls series, I feel like, that really is done poorly. The player character in this game is too slow and too clunky to accommodate the ultra-aggressive Bloodborne-style enemies and combat mechanics they try to implement. That's a good point. I think that enemy that I just fought shows that pretty much to a T. You know, because he's moving way faster than I am. You know, and I can do, like, quick little jabs and things, but it's still, like, a problem that he was just smacking me so fast. Along with some of the other attacks, you know, that have that sort of weighty, sort of like sort of like the manipulation of physics to make enemies jump up and then come down at certain times. When that's inconsistent, it makes it feel weird when you have different enemies that jump up and come down, but they come down at different speeds. That enemy had that where he was like jump up and then just suddenly like almost like clip to the ground. See, it's like these devs couldn't decide between if they wanted to copy Bloodborne or DS1, so what you get is a horrible mishmash of the two. There are so many elements in this game that seem to exist for no other reason than copying DS1 or Bloodborne. Yeah, I mean, now to be fair, those aren't bad bedrocks to begin with, but it is annoying when you've got, like, you know, when the difficulty spikes just come out of nowhere, and it's mainly because enemies just start spazzing out. Yeah, this game just feels off. It never feels fluid or smooth to play, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. It is one of those things where I've had moments where things feel right at times, and then they feel twitchy in other spots. Like that one mini-boss felt super twitchy by comparison to other shit. I also didn't like how linear this game was. For the most part, you were just following one path forward with a few short branching paths in between for the odd extra item or treasure. It kind of comes down to like how you feel about, you know, games in general, whether you think that, you know, linear can help experiences or whether they can hurt them. And sort of where it falls on your scale of I prefer X type of game. I try to be kind of in the middle because I like open world games because of the freedom, but I also appreciate games that are linear because they can usually strike a balance of, you know, building up encounters because, you know, it's linear, so they know how players are going to deal with it. I mean, Elden Ring is a good example of a Souls game that just does not take into account like the open world nature of it for balancing at all. You know, where I'd say Dark Souls 3 does a reasonable job at balancing things throughout the majority of its sort of run. Yeah, the fact there's only one completely optional area was a bit disappointing, but I don't mind linear games with the story, and that makes sense. I think it's one of those things. Yeah, I think it just comes down to like personal preference when it comes to... Now, in terms of how well they do the linearity versus the open world nature is sort of like an objective thing we can talk about and like criticize. You know, but as opposed to whether this game would benefit from a more open world thing, I think is sort of left up to sort of where you stand on certain things. Do you see what I mean about how the level and enemy design is getting more uninspired? We're seeing less and less puppet enemies and just more generic fantasy monsters. It strips the game of the strong aesthetic it has in the early game. I think it's one of those things where I think it comes to balancing, right? Like I think by the end of the game, I'll have a better grasp on like how inspired certain parts of the game are, you know, because like just because you have like a dragon in a fantasy game doesn't immediately mean that it's an overplayed trope or that it's an epic fight that we're all gonna be behind. It's just like, but yeah, I think like in terms of like the aesthetic of the game, I think it's kind of fair for maybe every couple of levels to switch it up and do something different. And just because you're playing on old tropes of a particular genre, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, it doesn't make it feel as inspired as like the puppets thing. Like I think the puppets thing is the most interesting thing that I've dealt with so far. But then again, I've only dealt with really two types of enemies, and it's puppets and these weird like zombie creatures. So we'll see how I feel by the end of the game. Funny how much more your Legion arm is being used now you have the gun. Yeah, it's just fun to shoot things. I'd argue the enemies for the area make sense since you bump into puppets later on in different areas. Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things. It's hard to commentary on a game that I've only. It's hard to comment on a game that I've only done like a quarter of. You know, so we're getting there. I mean, so far I don't have a problem with it right now, but it could change. If you haven't gotten far enough yet, you'll see what I mean when you progress more. And yes, you encounter more puppets later on, but overall it skews a lot heavier towards the generic fantasy design. Some of the enemies look like they could be pulled from any number of Souls-likes. Yeah, I mean, I think that comes down to how well the actual like enemy is, in terms of like if it's good or bad. I mean, my main thing is if it's good or bad. That's my main thing, right? Is it a positive experience to intake the thing, right? You know, I don't. You know, if I have to fight 50 dragons in a video game and each of them fights in a unique way that's fun, I don't really give a shit if I've fought like 50 dragons. You know, some people do give a shit about that, and then, you know, that's your prerogative. That's sort of your perspective on it. You know, like I don't care one way or the other. You know, but if they fight the same, that's when the problems ultimately become an issue. Don't forget the human bosses you fought. That's true. Yeah, I did fight the occasional stalker. One thing I'll give this game credit for is it is well optimized. I had pretty much a locked 160 FPS at ultra settings on 1440p. Yeah, so far I've not really encountered any technical issues that would be a result of me playing the game. I've had a couple of texture issues here and there, but I think it's mainly just because of OBS and streaming it. Yeah, but so far, no issues. Elden Ring or Skyrim is a good example. Don't feel they mixed up the dragon combat at all, so it got very repetitive. Yeah, I'd say like Elden Ring and Skyrim are pretty bad when it comes to just repetitive fights over and over. Elden Ring more so, just because the big fights are, you know, like the bread and the butter of the Souls series is the combat. So when you make combat encounters over and over and over and over and over that are the same, you feel it. Skyrim is a little bit more. Skyrim is a little bit more like sort of narrative RPG focused than the Soul series is. I mean, there's still that RPG element in the Soul series stuff, but oh boy, here we go. Do you think you'll ever play Lords of the Fallen? I beat it, and while it is heavily flawed, I do think it is a better and more enjoyable game than Lies of P. I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out of the Souls stuff at this point. See, this is a shortcut, isn't it? Yeah. I'm a little burnt out of the Soul series stuff. I'm only really playing Lies of P because people told me to play it, and because this is the last sort of Souls-like in my library that I really wanted to check out. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to play Lords of the Fallen, mainly because it's been expensive and I'm on a budget, and I also have like a lot of other games I need to play. The Soul series and like other Souls-likes aren't really high on my list of stuff I want to play anymore. And it was a nice breath of fresh air to play something non-Souls-like when I played the Doom games again. Yeah, Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen were both in my backlog since release, and I finally got to both this year. Played them one after the other. Yeah, Lies of P I think has been in my library for like a good year now. Because I think I got it sometime last year and just never played it because I was busy with other shit. Now that I've kind of dedicated this stream to more gaming-related stuff, I'm kind of okay with just kind of checking out different games at different points. I like her little top hat. It's kind of cute. See what I was saying about the AI being better than the Dark Souls gank bosses? Yeah. Yeah, they were. He was the tanky one, and the rest of them were just sort of little subordinates that you could knock out, which I like. That's a really good use of having different enemies doing different things. Timothy Chalamet says no.
I could use a proper tipple.
Tipples!
There's a wine called...
I didn't think I'd be beating kids this stream, but here we are. Really helpful, the chests emit light to make them tough to miss. That is helpful. This is one reason why I think that, like, some older games become hard to play, because you sort of train your eyes to see certain things, you know, depending on sort of what era of like gaming you grew up with. So like if you play like a really old game, like I had some issues playing Half-Life for the first time because I had never played a game that old before, and so dealing with it, you know, had created issues because I couldn't tell what I could interact with and what I could not without like fucking around with stuff. Funny seeing how big your stamina bar is compared to before when you weren't upgrading stamina. Yeah, when I figure out how to level up what I want to level up, things start to make sense. Not the babies. Oh shit. Okay. The mad clown puppet is raping me. This puzzle is a pain and don't think it gives you much. It's how you solve it that's the pain. Oh. Well, we'll figure it out. If you figure it out without me telling you, I'll be impressed. Well, we'll give it a shot. I'm genuinely confused about this. Like, it says it's here. It says it's buried. I don't know if I'm looking for, like, an interact prompt or if I'm looking for, like, something that involves, like, a ground attack or something like that. I actually get it now, looking at the clue. Shame I wasn't smart enough to work it out on my own. Oh, this is hurting my brain, man. I don't know how long we spent on that, but I can't spend all that time just wandering around trying to figure out what the picture means. Do you want the answer? Yes, yes. The picture's telling you to use an emote to check the ground where the X is. The symbol on the picture is the same one for emotes in your inventory. Okay. There we go. Fuck me. I really don't understand that guy's movesets, man. I really don't. I did not understand those two boss fights at all. I think the main thing that kind of gets me about that fight was... But I didn't quite understand some of the points where the boss was just doing like a movement animation versus an attack animation during phase 1 and 2. I think that threw me off the first time. Because I couldn't tell like when, you know... I don't know. I'm looking forward to you streaming this more and seeing myself become gradually more vindicated as you realize this game is mid as fuck. We'll see. That last boss was one of the ones where I feel like I didn't enjoy it this time, but I have a suspicion that I might enjoy it next time, now that I've kind of like seen it. Reckon you'll be fine since you're a normie playing on an easier difficulty. Yeah, let's hope so. This is the funny thing, right, about playing on a lighter difficulty, is that you can kind of notice the problems because, like, you have time to survive the attacks that would kill you on the normal difficulties. So it's weird, like, looking at some of the stuff and being like, oh, yeah, I see how this could be annoying on, like, the regular version. That's a cool detail. I like that. That makes me giggle. That's funny. Of course there's loot in the goo. There's always loot in the goo. One thing I am beginning to notice is it just seems like enemies have a lot of health. Even on this lower difficulty than like the higher one, it's just enemies seem spongy. Strange amulet. Does it give us a strange power? Oh, no, strength amulet. I don't know why I misread that. I'm blind. I'm a blind man. I'm a blind man. And my world is pain. Quartz! We got the quartz! Yes! Falcon Eye coming in for the win. Of course they put one of you fuckers up here. Because why wouldn't they? Hello, bearer, seek last. I know. I know. Fuck you. Why do you take no fucking damage? Aha! Creative shortcut. I'm down. That actually is a pretty cool use of a shortcut. I appreciate that. Please. Damn it. Recharge. Oh, does that do what I think it does? Does that do what I think it does? Stores HP. Yes! 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 Hail to the regen. Hail. All hail. That's just... Mwah! I love it. I love it so much. I love regen items in games. I love them so much. They alleviate so much tedious little shit. We're gonna try to lie, but we're going to only lie when it's like affects someone's like feel, like when it could potentially be a good thing to lie. Basically, that's sort of where I'm at right now. Is I think we only lie when it doesn't hurt anybody. I'm curious of how far the stages go for becoming a real boy, because feeling warmth is like, okay, that seems like a later stage thing to feeling human, but I'm not exactly 100% sure. Okay, that could have been really fucking bad. Think about had a heart attack with that. Increases everything. Just... It's the FAP ring. The glorious FAP ring. You know, it's kind of funny when you look at this game so far, right? There's a lot of things that are very clearly inspired by Dark Souls, and it's like, this is the Sen's Fortress, but you wouldn't know that unless you've played Dark Souls, right? So it doesn't feel like a ripoff so much as just a different take on the same idea. Hey, you're different. Alright, okay, quit being a cunt. Holy shit, man. Increases max stamina. Whoop-de-doo. That's not worth that amulet. The enemy sucked. Oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck the flaily man. Fuck the flaily enemies. Go away. Back into the puppet realm. I will be the master of puppets one day. One day. Just takes a long time. Just like it takes a long time to compile the shaders. No. That's how I imagine Australians say it. We shall see down at the seashore. Sometimes you just have to slap a bitch. This is one thing I like about this game is that it does indicate like where people are. You know, it gives a little hint for where you need to go. Doesn't give exact coordinates or anything, but it like gives you like they're in this area, go here. And that's nice because then I don't have to go, you know. One of my biggest problems with the Soul series in general is just the vaguity with which they place things and how intuitive it is to figure out where shit is. Like, there's a lot of moments where things are just not intuitive at all, and it doesn't actually lead anywhere, like, useful. But yeah, the human enemies in this game have been very annoying for the most part. The only fight that I actually thought was kind of decent so far was the one fight with, whatchamacallits, the, Black Rabbit people. What the fuck? I hate when they do that shit. They give you the opening, and then they have some attack that can go through, like, while the opening is opening up. It's just counterintuitive to having a critical attack that opens the enemy up for a critical attack. It's punishing you for succeeding at the critical attack. I love how it takes you that long to break his guard, and by then he's already fucking dead. It's like some of the balancing of like how this shit works is just not good. Why do we need status puzzles in video games? Like, the more I see these, the more I just start to give up on them in general. I like how the game protects the AI here. Can't bait them to do anything. Oh, and you can't get behind them because they're busy fucking, like, auto-tracking you. So the only option is you just run at them and beat them senseless. Like a lot of other enemies in the game. They look different, they fight different, but the strategy is the same. I hate that tracking stupid shit. I found an exploit. I love exploits. They're exploitative. What? No. 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 What is... No. What's going on around here? No, they smashed the models. They deserve to burn in hell. Maybe I need more attack stuff at this point, because just... It seems like the enemies are getting spongier, and I can't tell if that's just a balancing thing where, like, they're meant to be spongier, or if you're supposed to be more aggressive as the game goes on. Just doing a playthrough for fun, or plan on doing a video in the future? This is just a playthrough just because I've never played it. You can check the ESAS archive. I've got the whole thing archived. But, yeah, so far, I've got sort of mixed feelings on the game. Some elements I like, some elements I don't. Well, I guess it's kind of obvious given I said mixed. But, I don't know if I'll do a video on it. I'm not sure yet. See, favorite boss? I'm trying to remember what bosses are in this game. Oh, that was lame. that was so... Wow. Just walking along talking to herp-a-derp-a-der off the ledge. But favorite boss, I'm not sure. I think I liked the police boss. I think I liked him a lot. I think that's probably it. Like the police boss is the one that I think I like the most. Like all the other ones have been kind of mixed bags to me. Like I feel like the police boss is the right level of difficulty for the game because his attacks are varied, but if you're paying attention, you can, get good at them. Yeah, I think the police bot is probably my favorite so far. I think all the other bosses have had different issues where I have trouble telling where their attacks actually are. Like when they're moving versus when they're attacking, right? Like I didn't like the Puppet Master boss. I didn't really like the I didn't really like the main boss of the swamp. The big furnace boss, I didn't really fight appropriately, apparently. Like I nuked him down so fast with some other stuff that I guess that's not the way the fight's supposed to be, from what I heard. So, yeah, a lot of bosses have been sort of to me, but I've liked the police one. The last, not the last boss, but I fight the image. I fought the image. Whatchamacallit. I forget the name. Like the illusion person, like mini boss. Hated that fight. I fought the real flippy dude with all the tentacles that was like the main area of sort of the swamp, like the last boss of the swamp, and I didn't like that one either. And they all kind of come down to I can't tell where the openings are with some of the combos. Like it just feels like combos end semi-randomly, and I'm not sure why that is. This is not a very good boss fight. Like they all kind of have different moves that can get in each other's way. I'm really not a fan of the combos going on forever as well. Bridge, buttholes! Bridge! What the fuck? Wow, talk about bullshit. Holy shit. The music on loop is kind of funny because every time I go into the building it gets quieter, and when I come outside it's louder again, and it feels like someone's like in my ear with like a speaker just raising the volume and then lowering it. Like it doesn't feel diegetic so much as kind of awkward and funny. Oh, what the fuck? You have a backup grab? You have a backup to your grab? Fuck off. Please don't let that be phase 1. Because if that's phase 1, I might just rage quit the game now, because that's fucking... There's so much stupid shit in that fight. Yep, that's phase 1. Fucking great. Fucking great. That's just lame. That's just fucking lame. I think we're gonna call it quits here. I think I'm done with Liza P. The first couple of bosses had a fun gimmick, and the gimmicks at the beginning were fun. As the game went, it became more tedious and spastic. And now we've sort of reached the end point of like how much I'm willing to deal with. Especially when the boss has the constant shock all over the place. Instant shock proc. Has a grab that has a follow-up grab, and an additional follow-up grab to the follow-up grab that is a follow-up to the initial grab. And then you've got them having a ton of health and moving so fast with so many gap closers that it's just gonna be me beating my head against my keyboard trying to finish the fucking game. So at this point, I'm done. I'm not finishing Liza P. I'm not finishing Liza P. I'm sorry to everybody that wanted to finish it, but just 2 times fighting that boss, just not dealing with it. Just not dealing with it, not feeling like it. And I got other shit I want to do anyway. So that's going to be it for Lies of P. Enjoyed the first sort of third of Lies of P. The middle third got kind of old, and then up to this point, I'm just kind of tired of the same spongy, spazzy enemies over and over and over. So, spongy, spazzy enemies with status effects. Spongy, spazzy, status effects spamming enemies. That's the thing that I've taken away after playing the game. And I was playing it on a medium difficulty, right? So I can only imagine how frustrating this is on the higher one.